where the cold winds blow, truth runs deeper than the stories they told. Cowboy Criminology, ride the line, getting to the truth behind true crime.
Hello, Cowboy Criminology crew. This is Derek Judd, the Cowboy Criminologist, here with Cowboy Criminology. We got an interesting show today. This show actually comes courtesy of one of our subscribers. Carolina Furtado sent me a link to Zeluma's interview with the Chandler Police Department about her involvement. This is basically her interview, and this will be the first time I'm taking a look at it. If you followed my channel for any length of time, you know I like to take a look at interviews with fresh eyes, so I'm not completely corrupted by third and fourth hand opinions and what was said in court and all that good stuff. So I'm coming at the Lori Daybell trial conviction case in a very kind of late to the party, if you will, but also with a fresh perspective, which I think people like. So, Carolina, thank you so much for sending me this video. I'm excited to get to it and see what it is. It's a very long video. It's 2 hours. So I think I'm going to try and keep these videos. I'm going to break it into 4 parts, and I'm going to try and keep each video about 45 minutes to an hour, depending on how much content. I might be able to do it in less. I might be able to I might make more videos out of it. I just don't know yet. Kind of the nice thing about Cowboy Criminology is it's a free-form format, so some videos lend themselves to more analysis, so they're longer, and some are pretty cut and dry, so they're shorter. Unless I get on a soapbox and get long-winded, which I hope is not the case here. But we're going to go ahead. I'm going to give you a little background if you're not familiar with the case or not sure how she fits in. So Zulema was married to Lori's brother. Lori's brother Chad. Lori's brother Alex. Now Alex was described as having an unnaturally close relationship with Lori. Zulema thought there was something odd going on there, but there was a very close connection between Chad and Lori, and of course Zulema and Alex. Interestingly enough, one of the last things that Alex ever said to Zulema is, "I think I'm going to be their fall guy," talking about Chad and Lori. And she pressed him for information, and he never really told her, okay, what is this all about? Why would you be their fall guy? And he passed away the next day. Originally said to be natural causes, but people are starting to, the way this case is unfolded, I mean, anything's possible. The Lori Daybell case has daytime television beat, hands down. She's slightly easier to tolerate than Sarah Boone, because Lori does have a personality. But that being said, her credibility is no better. Just a horrific case. And there are so many interconnections. I almost wish I had a corkboard behind me with a red string tying, showing how all these connections work out. That'd be kind of a cool thing to do. But yeah, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to start looking at Zulema's interview with the Chandler Police Department. And I'm curious what's going to happen here. So I'm going to set up the scene for you. This is like a small conference room. It's a little more crowded than I'd like. You really should have 1 chair per person. I know. Room setups for interrogation interview are a big thing with me. Dan D pointed out on his channel when he was reviewing my thing, I have almost an obsession. But what I like about this room is there's a lot of spinny chairs. All right, these are just standard office chairs, kind of like what I'm sitting in right now. So if you've missed those, you haven't had a chance to watch Dandy's breakdown or react video to the Cowboy Criminologist, which I got to say is very flattering and very intimidating. You're having somebody critique your work, and you're having somebody, look at what you're doing. He was very kind. He seemed to pretty much agree with what I was saying. Wanted me to get to the point a little quicker, but in this room, all the chairs spin. They're capable of moving, and like I said, that transfers into nervous energy, into movement that amplifies what you're seeing. So if you're looking for signs of stress, deception, anything like that, putting somebody in an environment like this is great. I think it's a little I think it's a little crowded. There's one, two, three, four, five. So there's 6 chairs in there. Um, no Kleenex. I don't know if they're going to offer water or anything. Like I said, this is going to be my first time viewing the video, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump right into it, and we're going to see where this takes us. This should be very interesting. I love interviews and interrogations are really good because even if they're done very poorly, you learn something from them. And if they're done exceptionally well, you learn something from them as well. Um, of course, looking at these videos, I'm not sitting there trying to bust law enforcement. As long as the result ends up with justice being done, that's really all I care about. Any critiques I offer are just things I might have done differently or things I might have suggested for another time and place. But like I said, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get into it and see where this goes. All right, sorry about that. You can have technical difficulties even if you're not live. So, all right, here we go.
Did you get my text this morning?
I did not. Did you
Okay.
text Ron or me?
I don't know. I texted whoever was communicating. I was
Probably
communicating.
Ron.
Yeah, I've got a 10:30 conference call I got to make,
Okay.
and so we'll see how things are going here. I may just step out.
Okay.
And,
No big deal.
Yeah.
Oh. Are you tired of meeting with us yet? That's okay. Be honest.
Yeah, it's not about
Probably.
being tired about meeting with you guys. It's kind of like I think of it in my mind. It's like an aquarium, and when you go your hand on the bottom, and then all of a sudden all this stuff comes up. So it's the stuff that comes up.
That's a good analogy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brings up old.
Brings up all kinds of stuff, and
Yeah.
doubt and memories and and connections, and then you like it all,
Yeah. No, I get it.
And then you just like start beating yourself up because how could I ever done anything like this or get involved with people like this, and how could I be deceived so much, and how could I be so stupid?
Well, don't beat yourself up.
all that
And-
all that comes up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the hard part of it.
And hopefully this is the last time that we have to talk. But we just needed to go over a couple more things, just some clarifying questions, since we've been doing the investigation that have kind of come up again.
Okay.
Okay? Do you need water or anything, or are you good?
I'm okay.
Okay. You remember Vince?
I hope so. Fremont County.
Fremont County?
That was a nice one.
I do.
So, how's everything been going? You getting back to normal life and back on track and
Trying to, once in a while something comes up, or, some reporter comes up, or,
Or you get a call from Garrett saying, hey, these guys want to talk to you.
yeah, or like, usually it's reporters that are reaching out to people to get information about me, because, I haven't talked to the media, so they're always trying to get some kind of info.
they're still trying, huh?
Mhm.
Okay, Zulema, So, like I said, we're down here just to ask a couple more questions. One second.
You know, we prepare.
You gotta go, you gotta go.
Yeah, it's, you prepare for it and boom. So, but I was saying that when we were walking in, we left, I think it was 51, 52 in Idaho, and came here.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It's
awesome.
we're doing a remodel on our house, and it's.
I'm gonna stop it there at 5:15. In an interrogation, you want to try to, if you're the one initiating the interrogation or the interview, you want to make sure you have everything ready as quickly as possible. Now, inevitably, something will happen. You'll need to grab something to drink. You'll need to go to the restroom, something of that nature. You might have to take out and make a call. You want to try to, when you've got an interrogation going, investigation, interview, you want to try and minimize all that stuff. In the past, when I've scheduled those types of things, I've always, sent out an email, turn my phone on, do not disturb, just so people know that, during that time I'm going to be busy, and that way I can completely focus. I don't have to worry about anybody trying to get a hold of me, see a number come up for somebody that I absolutely have to get back to immediately. You could tell the other detective was kind of like, "Oh, come on, man." But nobody seems to be too put off by it. I'm going to go ahead and assume that Garrett, if I heard the name right, that's her, Zulema's lawyer. This is the first time on Cowboy Criminology we've ever had an interrogation that I've reacted to where somebody had an attorney with them. So, good for her. So we'll pick it up here at 5:15, and let's see where this goes.
It's opened up to the elements quite a bit, and we started in January and had a section of the back wall that was about that big, as big as that wall, that was opened up and just had a tarp up over it. So it was sealed up. The wind wasn't blowing in, but the air was, there's no temperature variant at all, and half of my ceiling in my home was exposed to the roof, and so the cool air would just come in at night and just pour in there. And I think the concrete slab of my house got chilled down to about 45 degrees, and it took it until probably April to warm up, because it was always cool. But we've had it opened up so much that we've been really enjoying the nice weather, because I would hate to be doing this in August. It would be miserable.
I was just going to ask, so is April, the end of April, 1st of May, when stuff starts heating up and really gets going?
It's when it gets warmed up in the day. You'll have highs in May. It's always a joke about when the first 100's going to be. It's usually April or May, and then it'll
be Saturday.
Yeah, right. It's right on track, but then it will go back down, and it'll be 92. But 92 is warm. You step out in 92 and start playing basketball, you're going to feel it. That sun's intense, but the mornings and evenings are wonderful. My experience is, and you've lived here a long time too, that even into June, you'll come out in the morning and it'll be 68, 70 degrees, and it's beautiful. But then, as soon as that sun...
Okay, so I'm going to stop it here at 6:40. So you may be wondering, why are we listening to them discuss the weather? Okay. Part of this is just killing time, and it may or may not add anything to the interview or interrogation. However, this is not her Zulema's first time being interviewed. So she is more relaxed, but what this is doing, if you'll sit here and just bear with me, what we're doing is what I like to call establish a baseline. What is her stress level? When does that go up? When does that retreat? When does it go back up? So far, she's very relaxed. She's very comfortable. Her attorneys, I'm assuming that's the attorney. It's business as usual. He doesn't seem too concerned about anything. But one thing I want to stress is that just because somebody gets a lawyer or lawyers up that's not necessarily indicative of guilt. Um, that can just be a very smart decision because you're trying to focus on being, you may want to focus on being cooperative with the police, cooperative with law enforcement, answer their questions to the best of their ability. But if you have an attorney there who can kind of read between the lines, can figure out why those questions are being asked, that can be a safeguard because that can keep you from implicating yourself accidentally, and then all of a sudden everything you say after that looks like it's a falsehood, looks like it's a lie, and your problems go from bad to worse. So I always hate it when people are like, "Oh, well, he lawyered up. He must have done it." It- if you got two working brain cells in your head, there's nothing wrong with getting an attorney. It's a whole lot easier to explain why you have one than try and undo all the damage from not having one. Um, that's not legal advice. I think that's just common sense. Ben Franklin once said, "A man who represents himself has a fool for a client," and we've seen if you're any kind of true crime fan at all, you've seen pro se attorneys, and you've seen some make pretty good arguments, and you've seen some that even the judge who's like trying to give them every bit of grace is just sitting here like, this is going nowhere. So um so while it might seem like kind of a waste of time, uh there really is a good reason for wanting to read the room and trying to figure out how everybody fits in. And especially with Zulema being the one they want to talk to, I'm really curious about watching her and looking for any behavioral changes in her condition. So we'll pick it up here at 6:40.
That's the big difference, is that when do you hit 95? If it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, who cares? If it's 10 o'clock in the morning, all right, now we're talking.
Yeah.
That's when it starts getting intense, when it's 95 at 10 in the morning. And then you're like, okay, yeah, it was 70 this morning, but we warmed right up. So you'll get if you're here Saturday, you'll get a taste of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's everyone I know right now is getting happy because it's getting into like 65, 75. We're all like, yeah.
Finally, golfing, yeah.
God. Pretty cool.
So,
Sorry, that was my wife.
No, hey, you got to answer when she calls.
So, Zulema, as we've been going over things, we've been going over reports that you have given to Gilbert initially with Alex's death. And some of those statements that you gave them don't match what you gave us the last time we talked. So I just wanted to clarify kind of why you told them something completely different. Okay? So when I was discussing last time with you about...
Was this the day that Alex died? Is that what you're talking about?
The day Alex died.
Okay.
So do you remember anything that you told those guys as far as Lori and Chad or...
Very, very little. I don't remember much of what happened now. To tell you the truth, there is a part of, like, between, like, 2 weeks there, that there isn't much, like, it's very...
Stop it here at 8:29. Verbal tells, verbal cues are very important. Unsolicited proffers of honesty are always something that should raise a red flag. Okay? Is that necessarily a sign of deception? No. There is no... if you follow any YouTube channel and you're watching somebody who says, "Oh, she said to tell the truth," that's a telltale giveaway that she's lying. It's contextual. Okay, you got to look at what she's doing. She followed up with open body language. She was showing the palms of her hands. That's all an indication of somebody telling the truth. But you've got to take everything at its whole. You can't sit there and focus on one little thing, one little aspect, and then say that's going to be definitive of anything else you see. It just doesn't work that way. Anybody who tells you otherwise either doesn't know what they're talking about, or they've deluded themselves into thinking that they're a lot better at reading facial expressions, body language, voice stress, things like that, than they really are. And that's one thing I really try to avoid here. So, like I said, contextualize statements like that, but it should make your ears perk up. Pick it up. Pick it back up here at 8:29.
Foggy for me, but that night specifically, there are certain things that I remember, but not all of it, and I don't remember. Like, I can't put a timeline together. Like, I don't know what happened first and what happened next. I don't know which one was first and which one was second. I really don't.
Okay, stop it at 8:53. Okay, that's actually, a lot of people find that suspicious, but in a case like this where everything has just moved, I'd be very concerned if I had a witness, a suspect, who was able to put together a complete timeline without any holes, any gaps. That would be a sign of deception. You're in this high stress situation. You're being contacted by the media. You're being contacted by law enforcement. You're being contacted by family, friends, acquaintances, all of this stuff, and you're able to keep all of that stuff together. Either you have a very high tolerance for stress in a traumatic event, or you've rehearsed your story. Okay. I haven't formed an opinion about Zulema one way or the other just yet. But I am curious to see where this is going. But her saying she can't put together a timeline, there's a lot of things that she can't remember. All of that seems to, in the context of the case, seems to be an appropriate response. So we'll pick it up here at 8:53.
Put it together, but I haven't been able to.
We've also never seen what statements she's purported to have made, so it's
Well, I can let you look at a copy, but so when Gilbert Police, let me just preface this. We're just trying to eliminate some of the things maybe defense for Lori and Chad are going to bring up during trial. Okay? And part of that defense could be that they try to pin this on other people, right? So, or make you not look as credible as what you are in case you have to testify.
Mm-hmm.
So, in order for us to make you look credible and to use what you say in court, we want to kind of jump out ahead of any type of defense that they're going to bring up, and try to make it look like you are lying or trying to get back at them or something like that. So in going over these reports, that's kind of what we are doing to make sure that everything that you told us.
Hold up there at 10:07. Okay, so the detective did a great job. Okay, it's so important to know your case. If you don't know your case, you don't know that things like this have come up. Okay. Inconsistent statements in an investigation, they happen. Officers give, if you have multiple officers on scene, they will give inconsistent statements because they all witnessed the event from different perspectives. They didn't see everything. They didn't hear everything. They weren't involved in certain aspects and involved in others. Witnesses are no different. And so this is establishing some credibility for Zulema as far as things she doesn't know. Different statements to a different investigator, different law enforcement agency are not necessarily indicative of anything. Okay. Want to make that clear right up front. That can be something as simple as she remembered it then, she didn't remember when she talked to you. She forgot about it when she talked to you, but she remembered it when she was giving the other interview, or the question was asked a different way that elicited a different response. There's a number of things going on. The key point here at 10:07 is the investigator has been looking through the case and has realized, okay, there's some gaps in here. When I was training my officers, I would always tell them, a defense attorney's those inconsistencies might as well be a neon sign. You may not realize them, but when you're sitting there and you're presenting the case to the prosecution, they should stand out. If there's any inconsistencies, any holes in the statement, one thing or another, all of that stuff needs to be rectified. Because if you're still conducting the investigation afterwards and you're plugging those leaks, you're not you're not fabricating a case, right? You're just going through and making sure that if there's any contradictions, if there's any gaps, anything like that, you can explain those to the jury. Because if you're doing that at this stage, you're conducting an investigation. But if the defense points that out to a jury, they're going to imply that this is a cover-up, this is a smear job, they didn't notice this, this, and this, and they thought they were going to sneak it by you. They thought they were going to sneak it by you in the jury box, but no, we're not going to allow that, are we? And then what? It's really hard to rebut that because you've already made that illusion, and that's a very dangerous place to be. So you know what? To the Chandler PD for recognizing that and trying to move forward with that, man, kudos. That's a great job, and that's something. Normally, if an investigation fails to get a prosecution, it's because of what's going on right here. There are gaps, inconsistencies that nobody noticed, except the defense. The defense noticed, and they ran away with it. So we'll pick it up here at 10:07.
Kind of matches what has happened, right? And so when we were going over Gilbert's reports, there's some things in there that you said that you told us about when you last talked to Chad and Lori, and about when you, well, I'll just come out and ask you. You told Gilbert that you had no idea how to get a hold of Lori and Chad when they asked you who Alex was on the phone with. Can you tell me why you told him that?
I wonder why I would have said something like that, because I told them that they were on the phone with him.
Right, and they asked you how to get a hold of him. And in your statement, you said you had only met Lori a couple of times before she moved. And you hadn't seen Lori since she moved a few months ago, and you didn't think Lori was married.
Yeah, I don't remember saying that.
Well, let's look at those statements.
Yeah.
When I say look at them, just look at them carefully there for a second. You didn't think Lori was married, right? Did you know she was married at that point?
Yeah, I did know that she was married.
Okay.
Yeah, because she had sent me pictures of when she had gotten married.
Okay.
So yeah, I did know that. I didn't. Let me put it this way. I saw the pictures of them on the beach. Her dressed in white, him dressed in white, and they were dancing and kissing.
Right.
All of
We've seen all the pictures, yeah.
Right. So I assumed, it was assumed that that was a wedding ceremony.
When you told them, what else did she say in that statement that she hadn't talked to him in a while? What was that statement about?
That you had only met Lori a few times.
Well, obviously that's inconsistent with what she's told you guys.
that you hadn't seen her since she moved a few months ago, and that you didn't think Lori was married.
What's the timing on hadn't seen her since she left a few months ago? Is there any explanation of that? Was there any timeline on that? Was there any clarification of what that
Well, we
meant?
know Zulema had gone up there.
Right.
So she's saying that since she moved.
I wonder if she's talking about since they moved to Idaho or to Hawaii. That's what I'm wondering about. She hadn't seen him since they moved to Hawaii.
Well, that could be.
That's what I'm trying to find out.
That could be, but she said that she didn't know what state Lori and Chad lived in. So those are the type of things that defense is really going to probably ask you.
Yeah. So I didn't when they left Rexburg. They didn't tell anybody where they were going. Not even even Alex was trying to find out where they were at, and he had asked them where they were at, and they wouldn't disclose where they were at. They didn't. So
you had no idea they were in Hawaii?
No.
What about the times you guys conference called?
When we were talking on the phone, they wouldn't say where they were at. So when they left from Rexburg, they didn't disclose where they were at. How I found out that they were there is when they were on the news.
Okay. Because there's some. So back in the reports, I don't know if I have that with me. They had talked to you and Melanie Boudreau about going to Hawaii after they were married. Is that not true?
This was when I can't remember when he was. Yeah, I remember them saying that. So hold on, let me see if I can put a timeline on that.
Our timeline that we have has that roughly in November, and then they go missing in December, November 26th. And then you had some conference calls with them the first week of December. You and Alex and Melanie Boudreau. And Ian was on the phone. And so I'm wondering, based on all that, and then
yeah,
the statements to Gilbert.
So she said, "This could be you. Come to Hawaii."
What day was that?
That was on November 9th. This was the day that they sent this.
The pictures.
The pictures.
Who
And
sent that to you, Chad or Lori?
I think this was Lori's.
Okay.
And she sent it to me and Alex.
Do you have that number?
Yes. Where is it? I just lost it. Dang it. There it is. Okay. This one.
Those phones can be a
I
pain.
don't know what I'm doing.
I don't have to find the number on there. It might be right there.
Maybe.
Let's stop it here at 1634. It seems weird to me that law enforcement didn't subpoena her phone records and get a warrant to do a phone dump and get those pictures, get those text messages, all of that stuff. That would seem to have helped their timeline, and maybe could have eliminated some of these inconsistencies and discrepancies that they're worried about. That just seems odd. That would seem like kind of a big oversight if you've got if you've got a key witness, as Zulema obviously is, yeah, I would have definitely gotten a warrant to dump her phone. And this seems like it's been multiple interviews with her, so she's pretty relaxed, she's pretty calm. She's not there's nothing I'm seeing that's really betraying any emotion or anything. But I would be curious why her phone wasn't relevant. If they knew or had reason to suspect that she was in contact with Chad and Lori, it would seem like, yeah, we probably need to see your phone. I don't know. There's there in itself, there's nothing really wrong with that. It's just not the strongest police work, I guess is a good way to say it. But we'll pick it up here at 1634.
You should be there. 2 participants. Okay, so that one was from 480-692-9562. And I remember this, I responded to her with a scripture. Because they were still trying to convince me to move.
Mm-hmm. To be clear, they didn't tell you they were living there yet, right? I mean,
no.
This was them for a wedding. They came back after this, right?
They came back after this.
And then it was long around Thanksgiving that they vanished.
Right before Thanksgiving.
And is that when you didn't know where they went?
That's when I didn't know where they went, yes.
So I'm just saying, come to Hawaii. It wasn't, hey, we're living here, come move to Hawaii with us.
But I believe they had conversations saying that after they got married, they were moving to Hawaii.
Okay. With Zulema?
And Melanie Boudreaux.
Okay. No, I don't know about Melanie, but...
And so that's why I was wondering, when it comes to the Gilbert reports, you say you have no idea where they're at or how to get a hold of Lori, or you've only met Lori a couple times. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Where there's a discrepancy.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's why we want to talk about that, and I wanted to know why you had told Gilbert police that you kind of really didn't know Lori or where she was at.
You know, and before I don't want you answering something about having potentially misled Gilbert Police Department until I hear the statement. I think what she's told you guys is the truth.
Right.
And that's what the agreement was, is that she was going to come in and tell you guys the truth. So, I mean, there's a discrepancy between the two. I mean, clearly.
Right, and that's why we're trying to get out in front of it just before trial.
Right, sure.
We just want to figure out if you in fact did make that statement, and if you did, why you made that statement.
Do you remember making that statement? Okay.
Just stopped there in 1840. So her attorney did a great job, and that's exactly what I was talking about. The detective is asking a very straightforward question, but I don't think Zulema really understands what he's asking, and she's focusing on presumably telling him the truth. But the attorney's like, no, I don't want you answering that until we're 100% sure what the statement was. Why they think why they think there's something off with it. So good job on the attorney for stepping in, preventing her from being locked into a story until he can look at the evidence. He can look at that statement and say, oh, okay, and presumably come up with a reasonable explanation. He talked about an agreement, so I don't know if she had some kind of plea agreement, or if he's just meeting with, or if she just agreed to meet with them in order to resolve these. I mean, who knows at this point? Like I said, daytime soap operas couldn't touch this case, but that's the kind of advocacy that, that's just strong advocacy. It looks good for the client. Notice everything's like very relaxed. It's not confrontational. or anything like that. The attorney wants this to go as smoothly for his client as possible. The lead detective obviously has some concerns. You spend a long time putting a case together. You want to make sure that everything's locked down, and there's nothing worse being a detective of having loose ends in a case that you can't explain. That is what kills prosecutions right there. So we'll pick it up at 1840.
I remember going to the hospital. I remember them putting me in a ambulance, and they took Alex in another ambulance. And I remember them taking us to the hospital. And I remember they started working with him, and then they put me in a room. And I don't remember much of what happened between that and until the time that they brought me back to the room for me to turn off the machines for him. I don't remember when I was taken back there. I don't remember whether the person that came to talk to me, was it before or after that? I don't remember, and I can't put it together. I can't not put it together.
Okay.
I don't even remember the name of the person that was there. I don't even remember what he looks like. So if I was to see him right now, I wouldn't even recognize him. I have no idea. There's nothing right there. Then I remember when I turned off the machines, they told me, I remember somebody came saying that I couldn't touch him anymore, that he was considered a crime scene, and that I needed to leave. I asked for a couple of minutes with him. They gave me I don't know how long, but they gave me a few moments with him. And I remember coming out of the room, and my son-in-law came. And I remember him saying to somebody who was there, we're going to get a lawyer right now, so speak to our lawyer. And then I remember leaving. But I don't remember when that happened. You know what I mean? There's no correlation there for me.
Okay.
None of it.
I'm going to time right now. I'm going to make that call.
Okay.
Let me do that, and I'll come back in as soon as I can. You guys feel free to chat about anything other than this, and I'll be right back, because I just got to, they're going to, yeah. Never had a missed one call from her, so let me go do that, and I'll be right back, okay?
Stop there at 904. So the attorney's got to step out. He's got to take a call. Hey, you guys can chat about anything you want. You're not going to talk about this. So that's, again, that's good advocacy. And despite what you see on film and television, officers really do respect that. Most law enforcement officers are professionals, and they want to do the job right. And they want to put together cases that are actually going to be prosecutable. And so they know what the rules are. They're going to play within those rules, and they're not going to deliberately sabotage a case. Most of the good ones are not going to sabotage a case just to make something happen. So let's see. We'll pick it up here at 2104.
Have you been to Rexburg or Idaho since?
But I also noticed that her body language has been very consistent.
It's getting to be nice up there.
Is it?
Yeah.
The last time I was there was cold.
Yeah, it's cold.
It was cold for me, anyways.
Okay.
It seems like
2125. Asking about locations that has something to do with the case. Yeah, that's probably not. That's probably close enough to the pertinent information of the case. I probably would not have asked that question. It's not a bad question. It's on the border of exactly what we were just talking about, but it doesn't cross that threshold but I'd be backtracking to, something safer, like, what are your plans for the weekend? What's new in your life? What's, how are you doing with all this? Or how are you doing, moving forward? Something that's a little less connected than locations that obviously have great meaning to the case. So pick it back up here at 2125.
It's cool for 8 months out of the year, but
Yeah.
now's the time where it starts to get nice and warm, and it's not hot like here, but I take the heat.
I would take the heat any day.
Yeah.
So I always run 2-3 degrees colder than everybody else. And you think that they won't make that big of a difference, but it really does.
Well, I'm not sure anybody that lives down here owns a jacket, do they?
We do, because after you're here for a while, they call it your blood thins out, and it really does.
Oh.
So you become kind of a wimp, because as soon as it gets to 70, you're like, oh, it's so cold now, And so when and besides the fact that my own temperature is lower than most people, then I'm always cold. So I have a sweater with me most of the time, most of the year.
Really? Even in the summer months?
In the summer months, because
God.
when I go inside of if I'm working inside of like a grocery store or anywhere, the air conditioning is too cold for me, so I put the sweater while I am inside the store, and then I take my sweater when I leave the store.
So does every house down here have air conditioning?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine living down here without it.
Yeah, there are some houses that have those. They call them the swamp coolers.
Oh yeah.
And some houses run on those ones because it's cheaper to run that than to run an air conditioner. But it's not the same. It's not the same.
Well, I think even in Idaho they have swamp coolers.
Yeah.
But the older I get, the more I hate heat and cold. So I like it between probably 80 and 90, somewhere in there. So in our summer months, we run the air conditioner.
Yeah.
Even though it doesn't get near as hot up there as it is down here, but yeah, I like
it. It's nice.
Down here?
Yeah, to be able to walk out.
It's nice for a change, but I don't know if I can live in 110 degree heat for 4 months out of the
I can
year.
do that.
So the first summer it's really, really tough because your body is not used to it yet, and you're like not really. Well, during the summer we don't do things outside. We just don't.
Just stay inside.
You go from the house to the air conditioning house, and then from the house to the air conditioned cars. And some people here also have those starters for their cars, so they start their cars with air conditioning before they get into it. So that works.
See, that's funny. In Idaho, we have those to
Heat it up.
Right, there you go. See, so but
how do they play? How do kids play sports down here if it's like 110 degrees during the day?
So they do it really early in the mornings or sometimes in the evenings, but you never
Same
do it
conversation
in the
about the
middle of the
weather.
day. And our hottest time, it is at 5 p.m. because we're in a.
How are you?
Good. How about you?
Good.
Good to see you.
He's complaining about hot weather again.
Well,
No, I'm saying I enjoy it. I don't know if I could do the 110
you could do
all the time.
it. You could do it because you see the offset of that. Because then you have 8 months of pure heaven.
That's true. So they play.
I don't know.
Do they do overnight sports?
Yes, a lot of people you'll see them in the courts at night.
Yeah.
Like the kids at the skate park, the basketball courts, and the parks are usually busier at night than
Just
during
because it's the coolest time of the day, huh?
Yep. And we get used to it. You know what I mean? And you really do. Like in the summer, sometimes I'll go taking a jog like around 7, 8 o'clock at night, and you're just used to it. So it doesn't really bother you as much as it would the first summer that you're here.
Yeah, I'd imagine you get used to it. I never have gotten used to the cold weather, but
No.
Yeah, I couldn't either. I couldn't do the cold.
I'm not a cold person. I still have that California blood, I think, just a little bit.
There you go. That's it. Yeah, I would do heat any day. Any day over the cold.
Yeah.
So, in those 4 months, really, they're not, people think that they're like horrible, but you just,
Get used to it.
you get used to it, and then you navigate through it. You know, you don't go outside up around 5 o'clock. You know, you're just not gonna do that.
Until your air conditioning breaks, and then you have to wait a month for a repairman to come because they're so dang busy.
So here they don't let you wait a full month.
That is miserable when it's over 100 degrees and your air conditioner goes out. That's rough.
Only make you wait for up to 24 hours and no more than that.
Oh, that's not bad.
Because it's like emergency here. You know,
Yeah, you
your
could die.
AC needs
Yeah.
to be fixed. It needs to be fixed right away.
That'd be the work to get into. You probably make good money being busy too.
They are busy during the summer. Extremely busy during the summer. So, you know, some people, when that happens to them, they just go to a hotel for the night, and then they just come back to the house the following day. Yeah.
Especially if you're an elderly person and you really can't move or go somewhere, they could get pretty sick.
Yeah.
Or die really with heat stroke.
Yeah.
They're stuck in a house.
Yeah. So, definitely, like, it's something else. Like, I remember one time, my AC got broke down, and we had to wait until it broke in the afternoon, so we had to wait until the following morning. So we had to be without AC throughout the night. We had all the windows open, we had all the fans going, and it was miserable.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine.
Because it was like 98, 99 degrees inside the house.
And see, that's the thing with the cold, though. You could always throw more blankets on or
True.
dress warmer.
Yeah.
Right? With hot, you can get completely naked, and then that's
You're
just
still
it.
hot.
Yeah.
True. And at the time, I didn't know, they make these things, this makeshift things where they put these buckets, right? And you put ice inside the bucket, and then you put a fan on the top, and then the air that is coming through the sides, you make holes on the side of this bucket, so then when you put the fan on top, the air that is coming out of those holes
that's a good
is cold.
idea.
So you can actually have a makeshift AC in
That's
your
a good
room.
idea.
So anyways, at the time, of course, we didn't know that you could do things like that. We could have done that.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good idea.
It's a really good idea, actually.
Huh.
So, I find all kinds of things that you can make on YouTube.
When you're in desperate times, yeah. Exactly.
YouTube will help you with all kinds of stuff that
YouTube is helpful, isn't it?
you have to do. So,
Well, my kids both play soccer, and my daughter plays softball.
okay.
And so they're always practice every night, after school or games a couple times during the week on Saturdays. But I couldn't imagine, but it makes more sense they would have them later.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't imagine them playing in 110 degree weather.
Yeah.
It would just, I'm sure a lot of kids would get sick with heat stroke or something if they were.
Yeah. And they do have, like season sports. There are certain sports that are like, the winter sports, the spring sports.
All right, we'll stop it there at 30 minutes. Okay, so we're 30 minutes into the interview. So far, we don't have a whole lot of earth-shattering information coming out. That's not really what I'm looking for here. But if you're following along, you're picking up what I'm laying down, you're going to see that her behavior has been very static. Okay. That's good. It's a good indication that she's relaxed. Anything so far can be chalked up to either misremembering or there being so much going on, maybe not understanding what's being asked of her. So far there's not really anything here that is of any particular concern. So when we come back for part 2, we're going to pick it up here at 30 minutes. We're going to let the officers keep going through their investigation. What we're looking for here is any baseline changes. Her voice has been pretty consistent. Her hand gestures have been consistent. She's not doing what the cowboy criminologist is doing. She's not turning in her chair or anything like that. Her hands sit in her lap. She uses the proper modifiers when she's talking. Good use of hands. Very conversational. Her legs are crossed. There's nothing so far. There's nothing there that would give me any concern. Even at the beginning of the video, when she said to tell you the truth, I've still got that playing in the back of my mind, but it hasn't really come into play yet. So when I see you next time, we'll pick it up here at 30 minutes after, and we'll continue with Zulema's talking to Chandler PD. All right, this is Derek Judd, the Cowboy Criminologist, here with Cowboy Criminology. See you next time.
Out on the edge where the cold winds blow, truth runs deeper than the stories they told. Cowboy criminology, ride the line, getting to the truth behind true crime.